Mastering corrective preventive actions. Organizations fix problems after they happen, but wise ones prevent them from happening at all. Why do organizations implement corrective actions to rectify existing problems, and how do these actions differ from preventive actions, which aim to prevent potential problems from occurring in the first place? Organizations implement corrective actions to rectify existing problems, which are identified through various means, such as customer complaints, audit findings, or internal testing. Corrective actions are reactive measures taken to fix or contain a problem that has already occurred, with the primary goal of resolving the issue quickly and efficiently to minimize its impact on the organization and its stakeholders. These actions are typically initiated in response to a specific incident, failure, or non-conformance, and their purpose is to correct the problem, prevent its recurrence, and document the process for future reference. Corrective actions often involve a systematic approach to identify the root cause of the problem, contain and correct the issue, and implement changes to prevent similar problems from occurring in the future. This process typically includes 1. Problem identification and reporting, identifying the problem and reporting it to the relevant personnel or teams. 2. Root cause analysis, conducting an in-depth analysis to identify the underlying causes of the problem. 3. Containment actions, implementing temporary measures to mitigate the impact of the problem and prevent further damage. 4. Corrective action planning, developing a plan to correct the problem, including the identification of necessary changes and the assignment of responsibilities and timelines. 5. Implementation and verification, implementing the corrective action plan, verifying its effectiveness, and documenting the results. 6. Closure and review, completing the corrective action process, reviewing its effectiveness, and documenting the lessons learned. On the other hand, preventive actions are proactive measures taken to prevent potential problems from occurring in the first place. These actions are aimed at identifying and mitigating risks, rather than reacting to existing problems. Preventive actions focus on anticipating potential failures, errors, or deviations from expectations, and taking proactive steps to prevent them from occurring. The key differences between corrective and preventive actions are: 1. Timing. Corrective actions respond to an existing problem, while preventive actions aim to prevent problems from occurring in the first place. 2. Focus. Corrective actions focus on fixing an existing issue, whereas preventive actions focus on anticipating and mitigating potential risks. 3. Proactive versus reactive. Corrective actions are reactive measures, whereas preventive actions are proactive measures. 4. Scope. Corrective actions typically address a specific issue, whereas preventive actions consider a broader range of potential risks and scenarios. 5. Goals. The primary goal of corrective actions is to resolve an existing problem, while the primary goal of preventive actions is to prevent problems from occurring in the first place. In operational excellence initiatives, organizations strive to shift their focus from reactive, corrective actions to proactive, preventive actions. This involves instituting processes and systems that encourage a culture of prevention, continuous improvement, and risk management. By adopting a preventive approach, organizations can reduce the likelihood of problems occurring, minimize the impact of potential failures, and improve overall performance, efficiency, and reliability. In summary, corrective actions are reactive measures taken to rectify existing problems, whereas preventive actions are proactive measures aimed at preventing potential problems from occurring in the first place. Both types of actions are essential components of operational excellence, and organizations should strive to balance their reactive and proactive efforts to achieve optimal performance. The thrill of the chase, the agony of the mistake, and the triumph of correction. Let me take you on a journey through the trenches of operational excellence, where the rubber meets the road, and the wheels can fall off if you're not careful. It was a sunny day in May when I received a frantic call from a CEO of a mid-sized manufacturing firm. "Tom, "We've got a problem on our hands," he said, his voice laced with a mix of panic and desperation. It turned out that their flagship product, a critical component in the aerospace industry, had failed a series of quality control tests. The damage was already done, the product was recalled, and the reputation of the company was on the line. I arrived at the factory, and what I saw was chaos. Production had come to a grinding halt, and the entire team was in disarray. The CEO, a seasoned executive, was at his wits' end, trying to make sense of what went wrong. That's when I asked the million-dollar question, what's the root cause of the problem? The room fell silent. Nobody knew. This was a classic case of a corrective action, where you're trying to fix a problem that's already happened. Like putting out a fire that's already raging. You see, most organizations are stuck in firefighting mode, reacting to problems as they arise, rather than proactively preventing them from occurring in the first place. But I digress. Back to the factory. We assembled a cross-functional team, comprising of production managers, quality control engineers, and shop floor supervisors. Together, we conducted a thorough root cause analysis, leaving no stone unturned. It was a painstaking process, but we had to get to the bottom of it. What we discovered was a classic case of human error, combined with a flawed design process. The production team had been under immense pressure to meet delivery deadlines, which led to a relaxation of quality control measures. The design team, on the other hand, had changed the material specifications without proper testing, assuming that it would meet the required standards. The perfect storm of mistakes had finally caught up with them. With the root cause identified, we set about implementing corrective actions. We retrained the production team on quality control procedures, redesigned the product with new material specifications, and implemented additional quality checks to prevent such mistakes from happening again. It was a painful process, but we had to take our medicine. Fast forward 3 months, and the factory was humming again. Production was back on track, and the product had cleared all quality control tests with flying colors. The CEO breathed a sigh of relief, and the team was re-energized. But here's the thing, we didn't stop there. We realized that we couldn't just fix the problem and move on. We had to learn from our mistakes, and prevent them from happening again in the future. That's when we shifted our focus to preventive actions. We conducted a thorough risk assessment, identifying potential failure points in our processes, and implementing controls to mitigate those risks. We re-engineered our design process to include robust testing and validation procedures. We trained our teams on proactive problem solving and encouraged a culture of open communication and continuous improvement. It wasn't easy, and it wasn't cheap. But, as I always say, you can't get to excellent without getting through the hard stuff first. And, boy, was it worth it. Our quality metrics improved dramatically, customer satisfaction soared, and the company's reputation was redeemed. As I look back on that experience, I'm reminded that operational excellence is a continuous journey, not a one-time event. It requires a relentless pursuit of perfection, a willingness to learn from mistakes, and a commitment to continuous improvement. That's the only way to build a sustainable competitive advantage in today's fast-paced business environment. So, what can you take away from this story? Firstly, when faced with a problem, take the time to get to the root cause. Don't just band-aid the symptoms, fix the disease. Secondly, don't just fix the problem, use it as an opportunity to learn and improve. And finally, prioritize preventive actions to prevent problems from occurring in the first place. As I often say, the biggest risk is not taking any risk. Don't be afraid to take risks, to experiment, and to innovate. But, also, don't be afraid to fail. Because, in failure, lies the seed of success. And, that's the essence of operational excellence.